Friday morning, first thing we do is try to get the briskets on the smoker, get it going, because those will take about 12 to 13 hours. The briskets that we get are from Creekstone Farms. They're pretty much about like the highest quality that you can get. This one looks very nice. I just want it to have a good amount of fat all on top. That way it's protected and it has that nice fatty bite once it's cooked. I have the job of making it pretty, and I can make anything look pretty. 3 pork ribs, half-pound brisket, I'm trying to get the brisket to be as curvy as possible, aerodynamic pretty much. That way, when it's on the smoker and it's being hit with dry heat, it's not going to crisp up. If you leave any corner pointy parts on the brisket, they will crisp up no matter what. I'm pitching into the fat so that it reveals to me how much more I need to trim off. So it feels a little harder where there is a little more fat. And so we just want to make sure that it's a 1/4 inch fat all around. Anything more than that won't render. So these are ready to be seasoned. I like to season the table first, and then I'll just put them on there directly. I think for briskets, the bottom doesn't really matter because the grate rubs it off. So I just do a light season at the bottom. And then I would just use some mustard water. I just want it to be wet so that the rub and the pepper sticks. Our rub is pretty special. We grind all peppers here and we use chile guajillo, chile de árbol, oregano, bay leaves, thyme, all the good stuff. It can be pretty spicy to a lot of people. We can tone it down. Like we have level 5 spicy and then level 1 spicy. And so I'm holding the shaker pretty high. For that reason, it helps so that the spice falls pretty evenly. The lower I do it, the more uneven it'll fall down. Having the shaker a little higher helps have a little more control. I'm so glad that our rub is orange because of all the peppers, because then I can also tell by the color like how much I've seasoned or how much is enough. All right, I think I feel good about loading these guys. Alrighty, these on the smoker. These briskets that I have on the smoker have been on for about 2 hours maybe. By the size of these, they'll probably catch up to the rest of the cook by the time we're at the 13-hour mark. And after we load them, it's like a huge relief, like, oh, like that's like the most urgent, important thing to do at 5 in the morning. That way we're not here all night. I think these two are decent. We're gonna start firing up the yakitori so we can roast the poblanos and some other peppers, tomatoes for our salsa. So this right here, we have a mill-scale yakitori. We use it for our direct heat cooks. I'm gonna put these on. And these poblanos are for, I would say, our signature side that everyone goes a little wild for, our green spaghetti. We'll roast all these poblanos till they get pretty charred all around. And then we'll peel them and add on more greens, cilantro, jalapeno, mix it with a creamy base sauce, and it'll be very much umami, creamy, and green. So our green spaghetti is known as spaghetti verde. You can find it in South Texas for the most part, but only at like celebratory events like birthday parties, baptisms, weddings. It's like if you see it, it's because someone's mom made it. I think it's pretty cool that like I am able to bring this to Central Texas and sort of invite the whole world to try it. I think everyone in the valley actually makes green spaghetti differently, but I think my mom's is the best, and so this is my mom's recipe. Now it's funny because she's such a good cook, and now she'll taste things that I make and she'll be like, what'd you do? Like she wants to know like what I know now, sort of like what's that saying? The student becomes the master. I think these are pretty much good to go. And then I'll just put a lid on these. By letting them sit with the hot air, it'll soften them up even more. And then so when I'm ready to take off the skin, it'll remove really easily. I was born in Brownsville, Texas, the tip of South Texas, border town right next to Matamoros, Mexico. Our menu is very much South Texas, a lot of peppers, a lot of citrus. The tip of it all, it's all about comfort for me. Right now, the way that things are done at Barbs, I'm still learning. Everyone's learning, we're all figuring out. Because I'm also only 25 years old, so I'm just like, hey, I'm learning. These are the peppers that have been sitting, that were fire roasted. The poblano peppers. So you can smell that smoky charredness. Very, very simple. It comes off pretty easily, just getting that skin off. In a normal size blender, about 2 poblanos, 1 or 2 jalapenos, half a stem of cilantro, some dairy, make it creamy, just all the good stuff. It sort of turned from light green to green as the cilantro blends all the way. Alright, there's that green sauce. That's it for the sauce. We'll pretty much do this 15 more times and then we have enough for the whole weekend. Alrighty, check these briskets. They have been on for about 5 hours now. About 4 hours in, that's when they start sweating, and that's called when the briskets enter the stall. So it lasts about 5 hours, usually 5 hours of them sweating. So the pooling, if it's a little too much pooling, then I'll dump them, because from now on, for the next 4 hours, all they're doing is sweating. So I just want to make sure that the rub is not washing off while it's doing that I can just read the briskets and like know where they're at in the cook. So throughout the cook, they'll shrink and they'll shrink. After every 4 hours, I'll move them more towards the back, away from the fire. Because as they sit on the smoker, the longer they are, the more prone they are to getting crispy. So just doing everything possible to keep them nice and soft. From the beginning to the end, the briskets need so much attention. That's why I feel so attached to them. That's why we have that saying on that t-shirt, all these briskets is my sons, because it's a lot of touching, it's a lot of nurturing, making sure they're doing okay. From my understanding of brisket growing up, it was cooked in a crock pot. Experiencing Texas smoked brisket for the first time was life-changing. Before opening Barbs, I was working at Goldie's. I was there for almost 3 years. Very much started at the bottom with them. Johnny, Jalen, Lane, the squad, they're rock stars and I love them. The team at Goldie's, they put me on a pedestal. They were the stepping stone of change for barbecue. Now there's more people that can add on to the change, and I'm so excited to see like who's the next Chuck for Barbs. We're gonna start making our salsa that we use for one of our sides, pork stew. One of our new and favorite dishes is the pork stew with calabacita and corn that is served over rice, which we make from the trimmings from the pork ribs, and it's just like the ultimate comfort dish. I didn't mess too much with it and let all these ingredients do the work, like the tomatoes and the jalapenos. The tomatoes will be fire roasted and smoked. So I'll put this at a lower heat and then we can go outside and start roasting those tomatoes. I don't really want these to cook much because this holds a lot of water content that is needed for the sauce. It's just like a very quick char. You can smell like that the tomato taste will change because of it being charred. I feel like the smell is like earthy, like I don't know, it's just yummy smell. Already. So this is the pork that we get from trimming our pork ribs that we'll use to make our side, the pork stew. The seasoning, just salt and pepper for this dish. we'll sort of marinate it with it, and then we'll fry the pork. A very quick sear. This is Diego's first day.
You were saying you were kind of starstruck, right? A little bit?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I saw like about a year ago a bunch of videos about Goldies, about like, you know, Lane, Jalen, Chuck. So on Wednesday when I interviewed, I was like, oh God. I think that's the first thing I said. I was like, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little starstruck right now. Yeah, so it's a dream come true working here and learning from Chuck, man.
Right now we're 8 months in, still very much small team. Today we actually had Diego start his first day at Barbs, and he's been doing really amazing. He's actually our first real hire. I'm really excited that this moment is being captured because this is just the beginning for us. So Diego, you're going to add the olive oil and then the pork stew, and then it's going to be like a real quick, you just want to brown it. Yeah. And then if you think you need more oil, you can add on more.
I think once it starts releasing on its own, because it's pork, so it will be fine.
If you leave it too long, then it will start releasing all those juices that you want to keep for the salsa. So this is more just like real quick, real fast, just to get some color and some like fat flavor. Cilantro, onion, garlic. Now we just put it on. Now we'll get the real salsa. This would be really good with like chips and stuff. One day it will be a chips and salsa restaurant. So I'm just blending it till every little piece of cilantro is blended all the way, because it adds so much more flavor to it rather than having it this way. It tastes very different. There's our broth. Alrighty, now that we have the sauce, we're gonna add all that pork into here and put a lid on it and let it sit at a low flame for 2 to 3 hours. What smells like Mama's kitchen. Delicious. We're gonna start on the choco pudding. So lots of milk, lots of chocolate, lots of yolks. Logan's cracking eggs right now and separating the yolks from the whites. I think most barbecue restaurants have banana pudding, and I was just like, enough. So this is a classic hot chocolate tablet that people use in Mexico, South Texas, very influential. We'll put it on the stovetop and it'll dissolve. Sugar, lots of sugar. So I'll put this on the stovetop, and then all the other ingredients will go in at separate times as it's getting higher in temperature. So right now that it's about 8 hours in, I feel really good about them. You can tell if you've had like a high fire or a spike in temperature. Once the leads sort of curve up like this, then that means that you've been hitting it too hard, too fast. And so from what I see, like they're all like sitting down and not sort of curving up. But these look really nice. They feel really nice. It's been a good cook so far. They're probably at the last hour of the stall, and I'm just going to try to remove all these puddles and push them back once again. And then they probably have about 4 or 5 more hours to go. These are looking pretty good. It looks like they're just about coming out of the stall, so we only have a couple more hours to go, and we'll wrap them and let them rest, and we'll see them tomorrow. We are all done with prep now. I'm all stuttering because it's been a long day, but that's it for today, and we'll be back early morning tomorrow. It's Saturday morning, and right now it's 8 a.m. and everyone is sort of taking on their different tasks to get us ready for service. In the morning, we all have about like 4 things going on at the same time, and then once 10 a.m. comes, it's like, all right, like everything needs to be done by then. Last night we finished the briskets, we finished pork ribs pretty late at night, and now we're doing all the short cooks, turkeys, lamb chops, sausage, and then we'll be ready for service. Turkeys are almost done, or some of them are done. We're gonna let them cool down a little bit more, and then we'll wrap them with a little bit of butter, a little bit of seasoning. Now we're gonna load the lamb chops in the sausage. So these lamb chops, it's a very hot and fast short cook. They are seasoned with our herb spice. So right now, I mean, we only have 3 racks on. We're still small guys, but eventually I can see this pit loaded with lamb racks. I'm just treasuring the moment right now where I can really fine tune and get these perfect.
I think a year from now, it's going to be so different where instead of having a 3 or 4 person team, it's going to be like 8 or 10.
Cool, so now we're wrapping the turkeys with a little bit of butter and some of our herby spice. Just let it sit on there and then it'll melt and it'll sit on a water bath, a butter bath actually. The butter sort of helps it keep moist and not cook while it's sitting in the warmer. And then the spice sort of adds on just a little more flavor blast. Now we are definitely running a little behind, but it's just like so stressful. Weird things happen every time. It's like, okay, what if the sauce tastes a little bit more bitter today without, I don't know, uncontrollable factors come into play.
Hold on.
We just strained 11 pounds of pasta. Joey's gonna go oil it so that way it prevents clumping. We cooked it till al dente so that by the time service comes, it's still just like that perfect spaghetti bite. The green sauce will get mixed with the noodles per order. That helps out keeping the sauce saucy and not clumpy. And it's a labor of love, very much. This is our most selling side, so we make a lot of it. We don't really want to run out, and we want to have it the whole day because it is a fan favorite. People get like quarts of it, even if it's just, they'll get it like some for here, some for later. We just got the turkeys off, we got the lamb chops on, we're about to put sausage on it. We're a little bit behind, but we got it, we're moving. Our sausage is a 3-day process. We cold smoked them on Thursday. Today we're cooking them for service. And they are our fajita sausage. So when you bite into it, it's almost like a stuffed crust sausage. This is the last thing that goes on the smoker right before service starts. Almost the last of everything. We still got just like a few more things to do and then pretty much ready for service. And I think we have a line forming already. Hello, hello. How are y'all doing today? Pretty good. Are y'all gonna be eating here? Heck yeah. Let's start with brisket. How much brisket are you thinking?
I think most people that come to Barbs right now that sort of are seeking and wanting to come here on their own will, and then like when they try the food, they're just like even more blown away. It feels so special knowing that they already come in with so much love.
All right, hey y'all. How we doing today? Nice. Very good. Thanks for coming out.
When we put the sauce with the ribs, the flavor, we call them Molotov ribs, not because of the spiciness of it, but because it's more so an explosion of flavor. When we actually cut them to serve, we slice them, we zest them on top to give it that brightness and sort of cut down on the fattiness of it. So they become very addicting once you bite into them, almost like hot Cheetos.
2 links of sausage and then 2 Ozarka waters. Fabulous. All right, your total is $88.21.
I think what we're doing with Barbs is pretty significant. What more than to do that in a town that already has so much history with barbecue? So Lockhart is the capital of barbecue in the world. For us to bring Barbs here and add on to that history, it feels really good to be here and to be welcomed.
That's a perfect order right there. 1.1, is that okay? Yeah. Cool.
Whenever people get a tray of Barbs, I want them to experience this journey of flavors. Because oftentimes when you go to eat at a barbecue restaurant, most things start tasting the same a little bit.
Full house and then 3 lamb chops.
Like a pork rib will always taste sweet, savory, and then like most meats will have the same seasoning. And so with our meats, we make it a huge effort for every single bite that you take at Barbs is different and wows you. When you bite into something at Barbs, I want you to feel like